So I just got off of work a little while ago, and I feel like this is a safe place to start this video because I have to keep everybody's safety in mind. But if you see the area I'm pointing at, you may note that it's not very well lit. There is a path that goes downwards towards the street, and I just don't know if it's slippery or if there are any tripping hazards over there. So for safety's sake, I decided to come over here to the well-lit side of the campus. Now, before some big conglomerate invested a whole ton of money into the hospital, there used to be a clear path from one side of the hospital to the other. You could just walk through a little footpath past the emergency room and be on the lit side in a short amount of time. Unfortunately, I'm a pedestrian, and when they revamped the hospital, they said F pedestrians, and I had to walk all the way from where I work around the hospital campus over to here. And trust me, it's not as bad right now when it's not raining or snowing or slippery, but it can add a couple extra minutes to my day that I really don't appreciate. So, just gonna get across the street here. I'm gonna step up here on the grass. Don't want anybody to say I'm not doing anything dangerous. Looking both ways and crossing the street. Gotta set an example for other IRL YouTubers. But, all right, so, what a night. Next week, I'm going to be doing housekeeping in a couple areas of the building that I have never been in before. So I alternate from laundry to housekeeping. And I generally like housekeeping a little bit more just because when I'm doing laundry, I'm mainly in the laundry room until we have enough clean linen to disperse among the units. And except for the times when I do residents' personal clothes, I don't really get to interact with them all that much. And housekeeping just affords me a few more opportunities to talk to the residents, get to know them. Some of them are dealing with dementia and Alzheimer's. Some of them get really scared. They cry. They're not sure where they are. And it's nice to be able to give them a little bit of security by introducing myself and telling them that I work here and that they're safe here and that I can be like, I can just give them that little bit of comfort. And sometimes it helps. Sometimes just the simplest thing like telling them your name and saying, "Hi, I work here. If you ever need to talk to somebody, I'm here," And I really like that part, In another alternative timeline, one of my variants stuck with the LNA trade at Job Corps and is a successful licensed nursing assistant. This person up ahead of me is insistent that that I go blind, so the rest of you are going to have to suffer it too. Like, I get using high beams on a highway or a rural back road, but I cannot abide them being used in a residential area. I mean, even though we do get the odd bit of wildlife passing through town, those bright lights are like as not to challenge the creature and play a game of chicken you won't soon forget. But all right. Yeah, so my biggest concern right now is, all right, I've been sort of doing housekeeping and laundry for the past few weeks, but I've been mainly in the same part of the facility, and I usually only have 12 rooms to clean, plus a couple of big areas. And I've been there long enough that I've worked out a routine that gets all of my areas clean in a timely fashion. And this coming week, I am going to be the only person cleaning 2 whole units, so way more rooms than just the one small unit. And it's got me a little bit anxiety. I did share my concerns with my supervisor, and they told me to just do the bare basics, which, okay, I understood what she was saying, and it did lessen the anxiety a bit. But here's an example of how autism affects me personally. So in my mind, the all right, so she laid it out, the bare basics. But, all right, so the bare basics. Wipe all the surfaces that people eat from, so the trays and stuff like that. Clean the bathrooms, the sinks, sweep and mop the floor. Okay, that's what I do normally. But obviously, sweeping involves getting stuff out from under the bed, getting stuff away from residents' beds. You know, some residents drop a lot of stuff on the ground. And so, in my mind, you know, the basics includes making sure there's not food on the floor or utensils or other things I'm not going to list. But, and some rooms do take more time than others because, let's face it, if I've got this list of rooms to clean and I sign off on the room that I've just cleaned, and then later on a nurse or a family member, or heaven forbid, an inspector sees a used pull-up under the bed that I failed to pick up, that's going to be on me. And no amount of, well, they just told me to do the basics because I had a whole ton of rooms to do, is going to save my behind. And so I'd be lying if I said, so even though she said to just do the basics, just do the bare basics, and even though she described and outlined what the bare basics are, I'm not sure we both have the same idea in mind for the bare basics. And when it comes right down to it, it takes me at least 4 hours to do the rooms in the section of the home that I'm used to working in. It's going to take me a significant amount more time to do the rooms that I have in addition to, I don't know. I'm trying not to overthink it. I'm trying not to overwork myself. I know that some of my coworkers take shortcuts. I know that sometimes they overlook things, whether it's deliberate or accidental, I don't know. But I cannot bring myself to take shortcuts because I know that it's necessary to do a good job, and it's not just a paycheck job to me. Like, this is the first job I've had in a very long time where I've actually cared about what I'm doing. And it's not that I didn't care when I was in retail, but let's face it, I don't think the customers or my coworkers gave two shits about me. And now I finally work in a place where people actually care, and I try to meet their effort, and I try to, like, let's face it, what I do has a net benefit to the people who live there and work there. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just gonna do the best I can, but it's just, unfortunately, it's not as simple. Some people make things out to be so simple. Just do the bare basics. Sounds simple enough, but it doesn't seem that simple in my head. It doesn't seem that simple when you think about all the things that could go wrong, all the things I could overlook and miss. And the longer it takes to do, I don't know. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep at it. But yeah. So, not much else to talk about really. Update on my husband. So he's been in the hospital for the last week or so. I don't remember if I said anything about this in a previous video, but I'll give you the basics. My husband had a piece of glass stuck in his foot for about 3 months, and I mean, it might have been 3 months. It might have been, because I'm trying to remember when glass has been on the floor. And the only thing I can think of was not 3 months ago, but he had dropped the glass and I thought I'd swept everything up. The thing to remember is he's diabetic, so if he had stepped on glass, he might not have felt it. And so it finally caught up to him. It was making him physically sick, and he wasn't able to walk on that foot for a while. Finally, he went to the emergency room, and they extracted the like a really good doctor said, "Hey, why don't I just X-ray this real quick and see what's in it?" And she pulled a shard of glass from his foot. And he has spent the past week in the hospital with his foot wrapped up, and I guess there was some skin taken off. I didn't get to see that part. But they drained it. They've been draining it. They took the tube out. They said the foot is looking better. He is going to be spending time in a rehab facility, which, and again, I think I said this previously, our trailer is not the best place to recover when you have a foot injury. Our home is in a constant state of, it's been in a perpetual state of DIY. We've got so much to do on it, and right now it's really important that he focuses on getting better. So I've been pulling some extra hours at the home, mostly on the days when I'm doing laundry. But since I also can't afford to burn out or get sick or get hurt, I have had to, today I had to go home at my usual time because we had plenty of laundry and there was no hard reason for me to stick around. There were a couple of nights when I went home on time just because I was actually starting to feel something. Like, it wasn't, there was a bit of back pain, but I don't know if it was my back or something else that was hurting me, but either way, was not a good idea to stick around for longer than I was scheduled for. But now, the way the schedule is set up this week, I'm not going to be staying late at all because I'll be working laundry one night and then working on on the housekeeping the next night or the next morning. And housekeeping is 6 a.m. to 2:30. So I'm going to need all the sleep I can get. So working overtime is not going to be an option this time around. I wish it was, but I will take it whenever I can. And like I said, I just have to keep it together for Michael's sake. It's the best I can do right now. This is what it is. When you're married to somebody, you do everything you can to take care of the both of you. And at the moment, there's not a whole hell of a lot I can do. I can't drive. I am useless at all of the DIY projects throughout the house. Michael and his family know how to do all that stuff. I don't. And so the one major contribution I can make is to try to pull in those Benjamins so we can pay those bills and make ends meet. And well, I'm getting closer to town and I don't want to be distracted. So I'm going to end that here. Thank you everybody who has been supporting me so far. I was at 800 subscribers for a very short amount of time. I'd love to try to crack 200 more. I don't want to keep talking about lol cows, but there have been some interesting developments with the Andy Ditch story, and I genuinely just don't care enough to pay too much. I've been following it naturally, but I just don't care enough to talk about it on my channel anymore. So that's all I'm going to say about him, but I don't know. Maybe I got to start finding other things to talk about. I've said before, I don't work in retail anymore, but I still have a few sketches to do that are heavily inspired by retail. Not all of them, but some of them. I don't know. I'm just going to play it by ear. But, all right. Everybody, have a great day. Be safe. Treat each other with dignity and respect.